Hey, 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 welcome back. Firstly, week 3, episode 5, Claiming Your Success, Conversations with Caroline and Sabrina. I
We're
can't even,
almost
week
halfway
3.
through this first season.
Bye!
It's
Like,
insane.
it was when I was messaging you the other day and I was like, hold up, we've only got another 6 more after this. 3 more weeks. Where did that go, Sabrina?
Where did that go? Which just goes to show, like, stop overthinking and procrastinating the things that you want to do and just do it. Because
Just
the
do
time
it.
passes by so quickly. Like, just do it.
Just do it.
Today's episode is all about questions that came from the audience. And we're just going to dive in because the first
Mm-hmm.
question I had
Oh,
pays exactly to what I just said. Somebody asked me, how did you go about starting your podcast? Like, I've been researching. I bought a book called Podcasts for Dummies. Like, I'm looking at doing all the things. And I was like, do you want the honest answer to this question? Because Caroline and I literally, like 48 hours before, we discovered that you couldn't just like record on Spotify.
Sabrina, you know, I feel like we're gonna, with some of these questions that people have asked us, it's that people are gonna have to really understand that we're gonna be quite raw and truthful, and it's the fact that we just got it done. You know, I've got the same question as well. You know, pretty much the same. How is it you not just started and now you're doing it?
Yeah.
We just did
It
it.
was like literally, I told somebody this story the other day, and she was like, okay, so we upload onto, so we record on a platform, right? And then we upload that recording onto Spotify. That's how it goes. And then we share that to our individual YouTubes and whatever. That's the process. And the person was like, okay, so when you were choosing which recording platform to use, did you consider this one and this one, and what made you go with this
You're
one?
just
And we
hurting
were
my
like,
head.
we literally discovered that you needed a recording platform 2 days before we started. So it
Now
was
I'm
it was
like,
the first one.
we
The
should have
first
done
one.
a recording of like behind the scenes of us like preparing for the podcast, because it's that, like, literally we could even share the screenshots of me saying, Sabrina, what's Riverside?
Caroline, what do you mean? What do you mean? What device are you like? We tried to get the same mics and camera and stuff. Obviously, she's in the UK. I'm in the US. They didn't sell her mic like where I could buy it. So I was like,
Literally.
okay, well, I'll figure out and I'll get a different mic. And then I got the webcam. My webcam didn't come with the right attachment for my computer. So I had to find a different attachment. And then Caroline's microphone didn't come with the right attachment for her computer. So she had to go and find like a thing. And it was a complete shit show. It was Caroline's not even using her webcam. Like, it was a complete faduddle at the end.
Oh
And we
dear.
even said to each other, we were like, should we push another week just so that we're like ready? And we both said no, absolutely
No.
not. Let's just do it.
Literally, I had to jump on. I had a half-hour window, I think it was, or an hour, right, to jump on the
Mm.
tube, get to a Sainsbury's, find the connection I needed for the USB for the new iPhone, because all these Apple iPhones want to keep changing the USB end, right? And then I had to get back again. So, and then we had to record the first one. So, yeah, like, no, it has not been smooth sailing, because people always
But
think that,
it hasn't been smooth sailing, but at the same time, we've just had so much fun. Like, it hasn't
right?
been smooth sailing, but we haven't been stressed about it. We haven't been like vexed about it. We haven't been,
No,
making it be this whole burden and chaotic thing. We've just been like, okay, we'll figure it out. We'll figure it out.
literally,
Whatever obstacle comes along, we'll figure it out. We face it when it comes, and then we just move through it. And I think
right?
that's the
And
thing that stops so many people, right?
so many, yeah, it's that, and then it's like they always think it has to be perfect before they get going, and it's getting that out of your head that it doesn't have to be perfect. You're gonna learn along the way, and that used to be me. I always used to think my Instagram had to look a certain way. It couldn't be messy. It couldn't be unorganized. Well, actually, it kind of needs to be that way, and then you're gonna figure it. You're gonna figure it
Yeah.
out,
Like,
right?
look at this right now. Look at my lighting. It sucks because it's 6 a.m. The sun is still down. I'm using a lamp in a hotel room. I look as if I'm jaundiced. The lighting is awful, right?
You're like,
We
but
could have said, We could have said, well, I'm traveling this week, so let's not record this week and we'll skip a week and we'll do it next week. But we decided on what our rhythm was going to be, what our cadence was going to be, what our frequency was going to be. So we stick with that, regardless
Yeah.
of what it has to look like, even if it's not in your perfect lighting scenario and you're not in your perfect environment. You
All
just do
right.
it. Like, stop putting barriers and obstacles in the way when it's not necessary for those things to be in the way. Like, I
Not
literally look
necessary.
like I have a medical condition in this lighting. Look at the state of it. Anyone who's just listening to the audio, go to either one of our YouTube channels and watch it, because this is atrocious. But we just do it.
Just get on with it, man. Doesn't matter how we look. That's why the true rich people don't care if they look homeless.
Mm.
Because we win.
That part.
Because we winning anyway. We
Yeah.
winning.
Yeah. Stop being so concerned with everything being perfect and just so, because that is what stops you from getting started in the first place.
Mm-hmm. It's all of that, all the research, all the wondering, all the mics and things. Even that, I just bought whatever mic and webcam like that. I thought was had. I didn't even look at reviews, guys. I just saw the first ones that I could get where I was at that time. Got it, and I just thought, it's only just it's just for now. And it's
Mm-hmm.
that a lot of people need to start thinking it's just for now. Once you go along your journey, you will start to level up and enhance and get better. So that's what you have to take it as. And then
Isn't it?
is the person going on?
No, no, you go. Finish your thought.
Is the person going to be starting a podcast then? Is that why they asked and they're looking
That's
to
what they're
do?
wanting to do. Yeah. Yeah.
Good, good,
I was like,
nice.
go for it. And it just made me think when you said that about, what did you say?
It's too early for us, team. It's too early. Even I'm just like, huh? What did I just say?
You said something really good, and I had a really good thing
She did a
to bring
Caroline.
back. I did a Caroline. My brain is mush. I'll find it. I'll find
It
it.
will come. It will
It will
come.
come.
Let me, because the question I had, it
Oh,
was,
oh,
oh
oh! I
yeah,
found
yeah.
it.
Oh, it
I found
came.
it.
Yes.
When you said about it's just for now, it made
Yeah.
me think about all the things that you have to do as a business owner in the beginning that you don't necessarily
Mhm.
want to do. You
Mhm.
don't necessarily want to be sending the messages. You don't necessarily want to be, doing what is necessary to expand your reach. You don't necessarily want to be in conversations in the DMs. You don't necessarily want to, think about social media and be strategic about it and be consistent with it. You don't want to do any of those things, maybe, but it's just for now. Your career as a business owner isn't always going to look how it looks from day one building. And I think that's where people get stuck, is they think those things that they don't want to do are always going to be part of the equation.
Right. And
They're
then just
not.
to bounce off of that, this is where I tell anyone new starting their business with me, I literally say to them, you have to treat this like a job. It is that, and honestly, I literally we stepped onto this podcast saying today it feels like we need to just get it done today because this is where we're feeling like this is one of them days where you have to treat it just like a job team. If you're gonna say you're gonna do something, the same way you show up every day for work and you get up early to go to work when you don't want to, you need to do the same on the days on your days off if you work full time and you work in the business and even around work.
100%.
You have
And
to treat
it's
it like a job.
remembering these starting points where you
Mm-hmm.
begin those things. Like, when you get to a certain level of success, you can hire somebody to do those things for you, right? You can have
Mm-hmm.
a virtual assistant. You can get somebody who's going to do whatever, those things that you don't love. So then you can operate in your zone of genius more often. That's the goal, right? It's not always going to be the founder
Mm,
of the business like doing all the nitty gritty stuff. And if you can get over that, like, spend the first few years doing the things that you need to do, knowing that you're building a foundation for when you can do the things that you love to do, like,
right.
that's a game changing mindset.
You made me think of meal prep because it's
Mm,
like I do it because I do it for numerous reasons. Mainly because I'm not paying for lunches when it costs a ridiculous amount, and I'm such a picky eater. And at the same time, yes, I do find meal prep a lot. I do find, I've got to use a day to prep all the day's meals, but I'm doing it because my end goal is I want a chef. I'm gonna have a chef, or I'm gonna have a company delivering my meals to me, so I ain't got to do nothing. So now I'm putting in the graft now to in hindsight, graft for what I want, putting in the meal prep, we'll be sharing it. Gonna have a company, what's it called? Give me some meals, so I don't have to do it. And it's that, just yeah,
yeah.
honestly.
Yeah, have that. have that ambition and have that
Mm-hmm.
vision for what things how you want things to look, and then work diligently,
Mm-hmm.
like grind, graft, do whatever it is that you need to do to bring that vision to reality. I'm just here. The reason I'm out of town is that I'm speaking at an event, and I was speaking on this topic yesterday with the group. It's about a, having enough courage to allow yourself to dream big, right?
Mm.
Caroline saying, I want a chef. Caroline didn't think like that 4 years ago, you
No.
know? So giving yourself permission to dream really big so that the grafty things, the nitty gritty things, the things you don't want to do that you have to do in the beginning, it's kind of like a duh, of course I'm going to do that because you're so focused on what you're doing it for.
It's what you're doing it for. It's your why, back to your vision. If you haven't got a big one, you're not seeing it daily, you're not going to show up. It needs to be your constant reminder. Like, I'm pointing here because it will be at the back of my wall soon. It has to be. Right now it's on my phone. So at least I see it every time I unlock it. You need to have that big why, that big vision, because then on the days when you're like, oh, I can't be bothered to do X, Y, and Z, you then get a reminder and you're like, no, I can be bothered to do X, Y, and Z.
Mm-hmm. And you just do it.
Yeah,
I love it.
literally
Caroline,
just do
next
it.
question.
Next question. Right. Hmm. All right, we're going to go with this one. How do you manage your networking business alongside your day to day?
Good
Or just
question.
your business? Yeah.
Good
How do you,
question.
Sabrina?
Man. So I obviously will have a different perspective to Caroline because
Mm-hmm.
Caroline works a like corporate kind of job as well, whereas I work for myself fully. I have a life and performance coaching business. I have a health coaching business, which was my network marketing company, and I speak. So there's various facets. I consult for businesses too. So there's lots of facets to what I do on a day to day basis, and how I manage showing up for the network marketing side of things was always. Have you heard of Eat Your Frog? There's a book, I think it's by James Clear, but don't quote me on that. I don't think that's right, actually. Maybe it's not by James Clear, but the book is called Eat Your Frog. And it basically, the premise of it is the things that you don't, not that you don't love to do, but the things that you know must get done to move things forward, do them first. Those are
You've
the
definitely
first
told me
things that
this.
you do in at
Yeah.
the beginning of the day, right? So if you know that your schedule is full of meetings, appointments, you're going to your 9 to 5 job, maybe you've got your kids stuff that you need to take care of, schedule time to plug into your side hustle business, whatever that looks like for you, first thing. Because if your intention is to do it at the end of the day, like
Mm.
maybe this works for some people, it never worked for me. If your intention was to do it, either I'll do those activities when I get to it, when I have time, or I'm going to go and do all the things for all the people all day, and then tonight I'll sit down and work my business. How often do you think you're actually going to follow through on that intention? Because everybody else is going to get all of your energy all day long. You'll get to the end of the day and you'll be like, I'm so tired. I'll do it tomorrow, because it's something for you that you're building, right? And it feels like it's an option. So I'll do it tomorrow. And so you push it off. Whereas if you had built time at the beginning of your day, and I know Caroline does this really well, getting up stupid early at the hustle of it all to get things done first. So then for the rest of the day, she can be fully present in the areas that she needs to
Mm-hmm.
be and not thinking in the back of her head, oh, I still need to find time to do blah, 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 blah. So I think it's all about managing your time and being somewhat of a militant person about your
Yep.
time and how you spend it. You can't be iffy about it. You can't be kind of like, I'll get to it when I get to it. It just doesn't work when you have that mentality, especially when you have other pulls on your time and your energy.
No, and you're so right, because it's like when I think about it. Well, I was thinking about it this morning, especially when I was looking at the questions and people are like, well, that question, how do you manage it? And it's a choice. We make sacrifices, and this is where it's just like, please don't take anything the wrong way. I'm just sharing, and it's how disciplined you have to be. I choose not to wake up and sit and watch telly, where some people would choose to wake up and sit and watch telly. So that's where I know I'm most productive in the morning. And it could be why, because of what Sabrina said. You know, I'm doing 8 hours at work. I do want to get home and just chill. So I have to make the sacrifice in the morning to get what I want done. That is how I balance it. You know, the amount of people that would ask me how do I balance life and business, but then again I'll see your social media and you're sitting there sharing a Netflix you're watching. Me and Sabrina still Netflix. We just have certain times when we Netflix. You know, Netflix is important. Trust me, that's how I switch off completely. You know, but we allocate the time for that. Whereas you might spend the whole 4 hours doing a Netflix. No one's saying you can't, but then 2 of them hours could be for something that you actually want to do and that can fulfill you long term.
Yeah.
And it didn't come just like that either. This is four and a
No.
half years later, Caroline, you're seeing. Seven years later, Sabrina, you're seeing. You know, so we have struggled through the journey. And if anything, it's the times where, for example, when work used to get a lot for me, I then would step away from doing business because I feel like I couldn't manage both. Now I forgot where that was going.
Learning and growing into it. It's been 4 years. You've kind of, this version of you is what leads the way now.
He's into it. Oh no, that part is just gone now. This is where I was just going off on a ramble. Sorry, Sabrina, you was going to say something. You go and it will come back again.
It'll come back. I was just going to say the thing to remember, I think, with all of this is what Caroline was just saying about your time and sacrificing and you know, doing what is necessary to make time so that you can do both and you can manage both. There was a quote that I shared on my social media a couple of days ago, and it said, you have time for the things you prioritize.
Literally.
Same, you have energy for the things you prioritize. You
Mm-hmm.
have money for the things you prioritize, right? There's always, you know, the amount of people that say things like, oh, I can't afford that, and then they're out in the line for a new pair of Air Jordans or in the line for a new iPhone where they're dropping $1,000 or 500 quid on a pair of trainers, and you're like, okay,
Mm-hmm.
that, like, nobody's judging that. Do what you want with your money, absolutely, but then don't say that the things that you say are important to you, you don't have the money for,
Right.
right? Because you do have the money for the things that are important to you. So just being mindful about that. Like, this is something that I hear from people a lot in their health journey. They'll say, I can't afford that, you know, gym membership, or I can't afford that program, or I can't afford whatever. They're miserable because they want to get healthier, but then they're in that Air Jordan line, and you're like, okay, so you're telling me that a pair of trainers are more important to you than your health.
Right.
That's what you just demonstrated, right? And
You-
like Caroline said, we're going to be really honest and really
We
real
are.
with this conversation, because it's so important for you to have clarity and awareness of the things that you say are an obstacle when it's you that's creating the obstacle.
Mm-hmm. Literally. And that was something if it was a few months ago, it was like a moment that had come into my head and I was like, hold on a minute. The amount of people that say they don't want to invest in business, right? Which is fine. And then they continue to go to work. And then it literally hit me one morning when I was going to work and I was topping up my Oyster card. People say they don't want to invest in business, but how you getting to work? You're paying every month
Paying to go to work,
to get to
a
work, to get
job that you
paid.
hate, most
Right?
people.
Right? And then even that, you're even buying clothes to wear to that job you hate. Make it make sense. And it just hit me one day. I was like, okay, so you don't mind paying to get to, like, but then this you could create something so much more fulfilling and enjoy it and actually have a good, like, be happy. Oh, it's gonna be a lot of this. A lot of this.
It, there really is, because it's that priority conversation, I think, is so far reaching, right? We can put that to so many aspects of what it is that we're talking about. And it really is understanding that it's not that you don't have the time. It's not that you don't have the energy. It's not that you don't have the money. You don't think that that is important. Whatever it is that you're saying, time,
Mm-hmm.
energy, or money is a block about, it's not important to you. And if that
Yep.
doesn't feel good, like when you say that to yourself, oh, I said I couldn't do this thing for my health. When you say that I've just demonstrated that my health isn't important to me, if that doesn't feel good to you, then there's some shifts and adjustments that need to be made,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
All right.
You
I
got a
have a
next
question.
question?
I have a
Nice.
question. It said, I would love to hear your take on the difference between living and working in the US versus the UK.
Ooh, I think I need to know the difference as well because when I had met with someone who I connected with on Instagram and they came to the UK, the first thing they were shocked at the fact like some of the stuff that we don't pay for, that you pay for in the US, you know? Medical. That was even eye-opening for me to know. And I was like, hold up a minute. This is why people
Yeah.
are jumping in cars and driving to the hospital, because you got to pay for an ambulance. Yo! Yo! Now I understand the movies.
Yeah. So
But, oh, yeah.
all of that stuff, like healthcare, all of that stuff for sure. But for me, when I read this message and trying
Mm.
to relate it to like business building, it really made me think about, I'm going to say something and I don't want all the Brits to get really mad at me. Don't
Oh,
get
say
mad at me.
it! Come on, like, what's
Just hear the words. Okay. I feel like us Brits are we have a glass half full mentality when it comes to what is possible in life.
Mm.
We have less of a, like, I feel like Brits judge Americans for being too excited. Like, they're too enthusiastic. They're so loud. They're so like rah rah and all of that stuff, right? Because us Brits, we're very reserved and we keep quiet and we stand in the queue and we do the things like we do
Am
the
I
things,
meant to
right?
be American then?
Well, I think so, Caroline. But the thing I found about being in the States, and yes, it was a bit jarring when we first moved here, but there was a piece of me that just immediately latched on to that
Mm.
enthusiasm, was here talking about personal growth, talking about investing in yourself, talking about what you want for your life, the ambitions that you have, the big dreams that you have, how you're going to go about doing it. Having conversations like that, people don't look at you as if you're crazy here. Whereas in the UK, and I know this from like talking to certain family members, certain people in my life that are no longer in my life, people think you're either insane or they just write you off and are just like, yeah, whatever. When you talk about big possibility, big dreams, building something, going above your station, right?
Was it a
Whereas
person American or British who asked this one?
American.
Mm.
Whereas I feel like in the States, like creating, I don't know how to put it. Maybe it's the American dream, the concept of the American dream, that anybody can come from anywhere and create whatever it is that they want for their life. I don't
Mm.
feel like Brits have that same belief system. And so when you're out here trying to build a business or go a different route than the regular 9 to 5, kind of what everybody expects you to do, you're
Mm.
looked at as you're a little bit strange in the UK for doing that. Would you agree with
No,
that, Caroline?
yeah, and it's for anything. This is so eye-opening for me to hear, because to hear how that is how it is in America, I'm jumping on a plane, because I literally everything Sabrina's saying about the UK is no lie. It's no lie, and if that's what you're saying about America, why are we not like that? Then maybe the American dream. Okay, that is so like nice to hear, that there is a country that actually supports being your own boss and going after your dreams and chasing what it is you desire and want to fulfill your happiness with. Like,
Mm-hmm.
what?
And don't get it twisted. Like America has its problems. Like government, or there's problems, big problems, right? But when it comes to that base, like something is available for everybody, regardless of where it is that you
Mm-hmm.
came from, what it is that you want to do. There's a place for you. That kind of mentality of just go for it. Like maybe that's why Nike have that logo, but
Right.
it's just like that seems to be just something that runs through the vein of this country. So you're not looked at as strange when that's kind of what you want to do.
So I've got a question that ties on quite nicely to what
Hmm.
you've just said, right? And then also we're nearly at half hour.
I know. How?
What? So just quickly, right? It was what made you take the step and started making these great podcasts. And if anything, I guess,
Great podcasts.
but I know, right? Trust me, that we highlight great podcasts. But then the first thing that comes to mind is, well, Sabrina's British, I'm British. Are we trying to show of course we can reach anyone in the world, but we've got a UK audience. We've got UK people that are following us. Are we trying to be that American dream for the UK so that we can
Mm,
breathe that belief into them so that they know that they can actually have more? And it's just that you've got to really get disciplined, focus, work on your mindset to dream bigger and have what you want. Because I don't know, that's the question that just followed on from everything you were saying. And it goes to, why, what made you take the step? And it is, we're trying to breathe that belief, that confidence, that empowerment into you, into everyone listening, because you can dream big and have more in your life. You can. We just got to get nitty gritty and get disciplined and just probably graft for maybe a couple of years, and then you start seeing it. So what would you take from that, Sabrina? What would your answer be?
I think like the thing that immediately came to my mind was have the audacity,
Mm,
like I think people just think that you have to, things have to go a certain way. This is what life is supposed to look like. You're supposed to go to university and come out and get this big job and then have this big job and then get married and then have these children and then retire from this big job and then travel the world and
hmm.
then maybe have a holiday home in Spain and then like that's what you do.
Yeah.
How, like, have the audacity to dream for something that you actually want for your life,
Hmm.
not just what you're supposed to do,
Yeah.
right? And I think for me it's really understand, like, I don't, none of those things really I want for my life. I don't want to work a 9 to 5 job ever. I have zero interest in being behind a desk. I would wither and die in that environment. Like I just could not. I can't. So zero interest in that. I did go to university, but no corporate job. I was an air hostess for a long time before we moved to the UK, the US. So that should tell you everything you need to know about what kind of working
Hmm.
environment I want to be in. I got married, yes, but we're not having kids. We're not retiring at 78 or 90, whatever age it
I nearly
is
spat my
that
tea out.
it's going to be like 90 years old is your retirement age soon,
No,
like the
and
way
that's where
they
you want to
keep
live?
changing stuff,
Go on holiday? No.
like I don't want to like
Oh yeah, it keeps
retire and
going up.
then I can finally go and live my life when I'm 70,
No.
and then I don't want any of that stuff. So maybe it's just having the audacity to think for yourself, what do I actually want my life to
Hmm.
look like? Not just do the things that are expected, but what do I actually want? And when was the last time you asked yourself that question? I know we ask ourselves that question all the time, Caroline, but I'm asking the audience, when was the last time someone asked you what you want? And when was the last time you answered according to what you want?
Hmm.
What do you want?
You can get it. You can get it. You can create it. You know?
Okay.
So
That was good. That was good.
we already knew, listeners, that these questions were gonna have us talking and talking. So
And we're going to have to do a second episode of these
we
questions
are.
because there's too many more left that we have to address. So the next episode is going to be answering more of these questions, because they're just too good to not.
I'm laughing because I WhatsApped Sabrina and I was like, we should do 2 episodes yesterday. I said, because I bet we'll only get through 4. We only just got through 4.
The power of manifestation.
Team, we're gonna see you again.
See you
We'll be
again.
yeah, for the take,
Yeah.
what's it, part 2 of the questions from the audience.
Part 2 of questions from the audience. See you later, guys.
See you soon. Bye bye.